Hello, welcome to True Crime Nurse. This is Nyla D. I am here to discuss some inconsistencies in the Shanquella Robinson case. But if you can do me a favor and just please subscribe, like, and share this video when we're done, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and let's get into it. All right, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen here. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to discuss some of the interviews that took place during the Shanquella Robinson case. Some of the interviews will include the mother, Salamandra Robinson, the sister, Tequila Robinson, and also the father, Mr. Bernard Robinson. There have been a lot of discussion going on online regarding some concerns, and I would just like to discuss some things that I have questions about. Questions are good. Questions are not being rude. Questions are not disrespectful. Questions are to provide a deeper dive into this investigation so we can get the answers we need so we can get justice for Shanquella. So if it is justice we're looking for, we have to not be afraid to ask some of the hard-hitting questions that many people are, scared to ask. So please refrain any type of, belittling people or judging or, putting people down for having a difference of opinion. Please be respectful in the comments. I've had some really good comments in my other videos that really raised some good questions and certain things that I didn't, pay attention to. So it's good dialogue, and I would like to discuss some of those things. So we're going to go ahead and get into the video. So what I'm going to do is play part of the video, and then we're going to discuss some things that are concerning or inconsistent questions that I personally will I have. We have things. So let's just talk about what's going on with the case right now. If you don't know about the Shanquella Robinson case, please go back and see my previous videos where I go into depth about what happened with Shanquella. But if you're here on this video, you pretty much know we're trying to get justice for Shanquella and trying to figure out what's going on with the FBI, the extradition process, who's getting arrested, are the photos real, what are the actionable steps that the parents are willing to take for this process to happen. So in the meanwhile, we have lots of inconsistencies, misinformation, contradictions, some flat out lies, and things have been progressing pretty slowly. And then that leads us to many questions. So let's get into the interview. Now, I started with Mrs. Robinson's interview, and I'm going to play the volume here, and I hope you can hear this volume. But first, let's hear something that I want to share with you that Nancy Grace, this is one of her quotes that I want all of my criminals to understand and know when you're going into any case. And so I've decided to share this.
Nothing. When you go into an investigation, you believe nobody and no thing that you hear.
Yes, very true. Question everything. Question everything.
Nothing. When you
Okay, so this interview took place, this is CBC News, and this is with Mrs. Salamandra Robinson. And I'm going to go ahead and play the interview, parts of the interview, and I'm going to, I may pause it for some things that I have questions about. And I have some concerns that just, we need to, maybe you can answer the questions. All right.
A North Carolina family is pushing for answers after their 25-year-old daughter died while on a trip to Mexico. Shanquella Robinson's parents say that she visited Cabo San Lucas last month with friends. And those friends claim that she suffered from alcohol poisoning before she died. But disturbing new information has emerged, causing her family to question what they were told. Salamandra Robinson is Shanquella's mother, and she's joining us now. And I got to tell you, I am appreciative that you are joining us now because I can only imagine the pain and the anger that you are feeling right now, and I know you want answers. We mentioned that you were initially told that your daughter had alcohol poisoning. So can you talk a little bit more about when you first found out that your daughter had been hurt, had died, what you were told, and what made you question what you were told?
Well, I received a call on Saturday saying that my daughter was sick and that she had alcohol poison. But her doctor had never arrived, so I don't know where they had got the alcohol poison from. So at that time, they said a doctor was on the way to examine her. And she wasn't responding, as they told me. Said she was resting a little bit, but she wasn't all the way responding as normal. So I told them to keep me informed, and I wanted to know why they couldn't take her to the emergency room. They said because they needed $5,000 cash to be seen in the emergency room. And I said, well, she has insurance. And they said they didn't take insurance by being out the country. It was a little different. So at that time, I told them just keep me informed, and they did call back, but they still saying it was alcohol poisoning. So by later on that evening, they called and said that Shanquella had passed. And at that point, it just took my heart crumbled up, just knowing my child was gone, and I couldn't get there to her, could not do anything. And
all right, so I want to kind of stop it right there because okay, so basically Miss Salamandra said that they called her Saturday saying that her daughter was sick and that she had alcohol poisoning, but a doctor never arrived, so she don't know where they got alcohol poisoning from. So at that time, they told her that the doctor was on their way to examine her, that she wasn't responding. She was resting a little bit and wasn't all the way responding as normal. Okay, so let's talk about that there. Let's see how I can say it, because I don't want anyone to think I'm being rude or disrespectful. Okay, so when someone is not responding, that's a sign that something's not right. Usually people who are not alive, they don't respond. DEAD people do not respond. So that's a medical emergency. I've heard variations of this story, so I'm playing this for a reason, and then I'm going to play Mr. Robinson's story because we're going to compare the two. So I just wanted to point out that whenever someone tells you that someone is not responding, you can't be like resting and not responding. Like resting that mean that you are able to respond to stimuli, but not responding means you're not able to respond to stimuli. You can be resting and I can come in there and shake you and you'll say, huh? You're responding. That's just resting. But not responding is I shake you, hey, and try to wake you up and you're not responding. We're gonna call 911. As far as the $5,000. Many people continue to think that the group is being nefarious or trying to do something slick because they're asking for $5,000. I'm not sure how they got the exact amount, but I just want to, educate people that your health insurance is not international and it's not global. Your health insurance is for here in the United States. I cannot take my Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas to Colombia and think that my insurance in the United States is going to work in Colombia. They have a whole different health system than we have. So our insurance, we could barely use it sometimes in other states without getting, some type of calling the insurance company and things of that nature. Certain offices may not take your insurance. So you think you're going to go to a whole nother country and use it. So in Mexico, I did my own research and looked at some expats and people who live in Mexico. They indeed said that they had to pay cash in the emergency room. It is less than what you have to pay in the United States. But that is something that you don't have to worry about right then and there, in my opinion. In my opinion, if there's a medical emergency, if my daughter's not responding and she's 2,000 miles away with some young 20-year-old kids that was partying, my job, what I can do over the phone is try to get her to the emergency room. I'm going to stay on the phone and I'm like, I don't care what the money is. I'll talk to the hospital and find out what the cost is. But let's get her to the emergency room. Okay? So that is just something I wanted to stop and say on that part. And then I'll play Bernard's in a second.
They said the medics came, 3 medics came, and no one couldn't do anything, couldn't save her. But I believe Shanquella was already passed, had already passed. But later on that next day, I got a call saying that they was over there fighting Shanquella, saying they don't know why they was putting on alcohol poison, say Shanquella, they was jumping on her.
Who called you?
And these were the friends that she was with.
So the friends that she was with said it's not alcohol. They initially said it was alcohol poisoning, and then they said, no, it's not. There was...
I want to stop that again. That was confusing because she told the reporters that the same friends that said it was alcohol poisoning is the same friends that called and told her that it was, that they were jumping her, that they jumped on her and they were fighting her. It could have been a slip of the tongue and she made a mistake and said it, but that is what she said. And she paused and was a little bit hesitant because she didn't want to say it. I'm going to play it again.
A fight.
She was with. Put it on alcohol poison, say Shanquella, they was jumping on her.
Who called you?
And these were the friends that she was with.
So the friends that she was with said it's not alcohol. They initially said it was alcohol poisoning, and then they said, no, it's not. There was a fight.
There was a fight. This was a phone call that I received that it was a fight. So the video had to be out before they actually come back to Charlotte.
She still never answered the question as to who really told her. Who really told Mrs. Robinson? Who called Miss Robinson the next day, which would have been on a Sunday, 10:30. Shanquella died on 10:29 on a Saturday. Who called her on Sunday and said they keep putting it on alcohol poisoning, or they keep saying it's alcohol poisoning, but it's not alcohol poisoning. They were over there fighting her. What do you mean that they keep saying it's alcohol poisoning? So it's almost like someone had to know that this group is continuously saying that it's alcohol poisoning, which leads me to believe if someone called your phone number, it's someone who knows you. Who could have known you to know your number to call you to say that they keep saying that it's alcohol poisoning? This was only day 2 after her death. Well, the next day after her death. This was the day 1 after her death. So who would call from North Carolina and be like, they keep saying? It has to be someone who knows them and also know Miss Robinson. But for some reason, if we want justice, she's not telling who it is. You can't ask for justice and you're not going to be, you're not going to be upfront until, the public or the investigators, FBI or police, everything. If you're not going to disclose things and you're keeping secrets, then it's harder to get justice.
So there's a video for people that don't know, there's a video that surfaced on social media that's very disturbing. You've seen this video, I know. Did you get a call from the police at any point about what they found?
Oh, I never received a call from the police saying what they found.
Or an autopsy?
I'm gonna stop it right there. You didn't get a call from the police, and I'm only bringing this up because I know people are like, don't jump on the mother, or don't. I'm asking a question because if we don't ask these questions, this is with any investigation. People ask questions, especially if you got the public donating funds to help with justice. And hopefully we're all waiting for her to get that attorney and get the private investigators and go to Mexico and hold their butts to the fire. That's what the public was hoping for. So I'm hoping that she does that. Haven't heard word of it yet, but hopefully she's going to plan to do that with the $400,000 that the public has donated. So you're saying that, no, the police haven't called. But why didn't you call the police when someone called and said that? So someone called me and said, they saying it's alcohol poisoning. And I know your daughter is gone, but they was over there jumping that girl. What? Who is this? Who's this calling me? If I don't know you, I'm going to ask, who are you? How did you get my number? I'm going to be concerned for my safety, because how's these people that my daughter's not here anymore? Somebody got my number calling me, telling me this. Don't tell me, they're not telling me who it is. An anonymous call. This is concerning for me. I'm going to call the police and I'm going to tell them. I'm not going to wait for them to call me. What they going to call me for if they don't know it's a problem? Mexico said everything was cool. So the police would not be calling you because they just said, oh, she was just a party girl. She partied a little bit and passed away. That's what they got it categorized as. So there would be no reason for the police to call. I mean, if they see a video that comes out that resurfaces, they still have to prove that video is the people who they say it is in the video. You can't just, they don't have no dates, no time. They got to prove all of that before they just be like, oh, let's call and figure out what's going on. But you, as the parent, can't call.
Autopsy, anything like that.
Later on that week, that Thursday, we received a call. That was the autopsy saying that her death had nothing to do with alcohol. Say she had a cracked spinal, and say her neck had been broken. So
I'm stopping one more time. Okay, so they had an autopsy that said it had nothing to do with alcohol. How do they know that it had nothing to do with alcohol? Usually, there's a toxicology that's done. Where is the toxicology report? Why don't we see for our own selves that it had nothing to do with alcohol? Why wasn't that documentation provided with the autopsy? We should have seen a toxicology report that said her blood level was 0.001. That's hardly no alcohol. So it had nothing to do with alcohol. That's ruled out. We did not have, or we haven't heard of a toxicology report. So if this is what they told them, and if that's indeed what they said, where is the toxicology report or some report that shows that they checked her blood level? And if they did check her blood level for alcohol, did they check her blood level for any other drugs that could be in her system? Because her sister was worried about them drugging her because of her delayed reaction during the attack. So where's the toxicology report?
That automatic let me know that she were jumped.
So did you, at that point, have you spoken with the friends that were with her since then?
I spoke to the friends, like they had when she actually passed. It was on a Saturday evening night when they called. But I talked to them. I think they'll ride back home maybe Sunday or Monday. And I talked to them like on Tuesday and Wednesday. I talked to them Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And they kept on saying there was never a fight. There was never a fight. So I didn't believe any stories. So after we received the autopsy on Thursday evening, and the autopsy told us what had actually happened to her. And so that took it to a whole nother level because, they're saying that it was alcohol, and alcohol was not the cause of her death.
Yeah.
They jumped on her over there. And if you see the video actually shows that she was not fighting nobody back. She didn't even have a chance. All of them sitting there looking, no one sat, tried to stop it. She had nobody over there to help her,
So this is
there was nothing she could do.
Okay, so she talked to them Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and she didn't believe them. I'm gonna hold my comment on that. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next one.
Mysteries.
This murder was. Can you tell us a little bit about what I don't want to call them friends because they're not friends, but the people that she was over there with, what did they come back to North Carolina and tell your family, especially Khalil, who is the best friend of your daughter? Can you just talk about how you found out about your daughter's death, and can you talk about the lie that they told?
Well, at first, I was sitting at home on a Saturday, which was the 29th. It was like 7 or 8 p.m. And the phone rung. I'm sitting there looking at TV. So my mom said, I said, well, mom's calling. So I picked the phone up and it wasn't sounding right. So she said, Shanquella gone. So, I'm saying gone, gone where, and she said, she dead. I said, dead how? And she said, alcohol poison. So when she said alcohol, I said, how'd you got alcohol poison? Where's she at? So she said, Mexico, Cabo. So, the phone just, my phone dropped and I just started crying. I'm trying to figure out who she was over there with, and said she was over there with some friends that she went to school with, went to Salem with. So I said, you know of them? You know them? She said, I know of them. I just know she went to school with them.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. I want you guys to remember that detail. He asked her, do you know of them? Who was she over there with? Some friends she went to school with. And he said, do you know of them? She said, no. I know. What did she say? You know of them? She said, I know of them. She went to school with them. I just know she went to school with them. So, but later in the interview, they know Khalil very well. So that was a little odd to me. That's another inconsistent red flag. It was odd that if what Mr. Robinson is saying is accurate, it's odd that she would say that she know of them, and she just knew that they went to school with her daughter. But then later in interviews, she'll say that Khalil, the sister and them will say that Khalil went on vacations, came over. They know them very well. So that was kind of odd.
So, from there, my whole night was just trauma, man. I just cried all that night. Just cried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not knowing, how, over in Mexico, where she at, or what,
Now,
right now,
go ahead, Dad.
it's just hard. It's just the point that alcohol poisoning. It's something.
I want to stop one more time. Gerald Jackson calls him dad. I just want to point that out because a lot of people are questioning now, do Gerald know the family? And these are reasons why people are raising these questions because he's referring to people as baby and dad, and like he knows them. And when you are a journalist, you have to keep those boundaries and those professional boundaries, because people will begin to wonder if you have some type of connection with the story that you're presenting. So it's just a conflict of interest, and it doesn't look professional.
It didn't sound right, you know. Right. I said, how you got over there, you know, for the flu over there, you know, I'm trying to, when she leave? So he said, she left Friday, you know, got there, 8 o'clock. She said she talked to him on the phone, and they was sitting there drinking, you know.
According to Mr. Bernard, you heard that she got there at 8 o'clock. So we never heard what time Shanquella arrived, but according to what he's saying that Miss Robinson told him is she got there at 8 o'clock. Perhaps, maybe she got there earlier, but maybe her mom talked to her at 8 o'clock. I'm not sure, but that's another something that we would need cleared up to see what time she actually arrived. That's not really clear. But according to him, Miss Robinson told him she got there at 8 o'clock on that Friday.
Eating tacos, salad. A chef came in, and from there she said, "I'll talk to you tomorrow." So from that point, that was Friday. So Saturday, you know, so she telling me the whole story now. So from that point, then that's when she found her dead at 3 o'clock. Say her friend Khalid was on the phone talking to us, and she was, you know, sick, throwing up. It wasn't feeling well. She took a shower, laid back down.
Okay. Did y'all hear a difference in the story? She said that they called and said it was alcohol poison. And Khalil called back, and she said, how he know? I wonder how he knows it's alcohol poison. I don't know if that's what she told him. How do you know it's alcohol poison and the doctor haven't came? Or is that something she's saying in her head? Because when she's explaining it, she doesn't say, she said, and I was wondering how he knows it's alcohol poison and a doctor haven't got there. But she don't say, I asked him, how do you know it's alcohol poisoning? And there's no doctor there. So why would you say this in your head and not ask this person that's calling you that? I don't know. But you see, he's giving a detailed blow by blow, the time. He's more accurate as to when he talked to her. He's telling you where he was at and how he was feeling. So his description is a little bit more, we get more information from Mr. Robinson more than we do Miss Robinson. He says that she wasn't feeling good. She went to the bathroom. She threw up. She took a shower. She laid back down. Like, wow, that was left out. I have never heard the mother say any of that in her story. So that is inconsistency number 500. Okay, I don't even know how many inconsistencies that there are. I didn't count them, but this is one of the many inconsistencies. So let's continue.
And they called the Airbnb house. They supposed to send a medic out, doctor out to the house, and they had to pay $150 for the doctor to come. So when the doctor came, they had to look at her.
That's new information, that $150 was paid for the doctor to look at her. So that lets you know nothing is free in Mexico when it comes to getting medical, getting any type of medical visits or going to the emergency room or having any type of medical done when it's an emergency there. You have to pay out of pocket. It's not something that they typically just do for free because they just feel sorry for you.
I had to put an IV in her arm, and said the IV popped out and she went into a seizure. That's what Khalid telling her mom's all this right here now. So
right.
I'm trying to figure out, I'm listening to the conversation, so I'm trying to figure out, why Khalid, didn't give you the phone or let you hear the doctor.
Boom. Very good question. That's a question I had from beginning when I first heard this case, but I held my I held my judgments back. I didn't want to say that out loud because everybody was in their emotions. But that's the very first thing I asked, and that was a number one big red flag for me. But a lot of people will discount what I say because they say, oh, well, you work in the medical field, you're more knowledgeable. So I just kind of, say, well, maybe that's just me thinking as a medical professional. That's what I would do. But, a regular person that's not in a medical, not regular, I shouldn't say that, but a person who's not a non-medical person, would they think that way? But he's non-medical and he thought that way. It don't take a medical degree or license or a doctorate degree or PhD or MD behind your name to be like, well, can I see her, speak to her, put her on the phone? Okay, oh, the doctor's there, keep me on the phone. You can't, and I don't want to sound mean, but you can't just be like, all right, well, keep me informed, because then boom, I don't know. So that's just me. That's me. Don't get mad at me for voicing my opinion on what I would do.
Yeah, one of them in the house, what she was told, one of them told her she need to wire $5,000 over there so they can take her to the hospital, or so she be able to get in the hospital. I say, $5,000 for what? I mean, she's got insurance. She always had insurance. Right. So from that point,
Americans, we just need to be a little bit educated on the insurance and how it works with different medical systems in different countries. That our insurance, I know we think we're America and we're good everywhere we go. That's not true. Our insurance is no good. You cannot take your Blue Cross Blue Shield or your Aetna or any of that type of insurance over to like the UK. You can't go over there. They would look at your insurance like, what is this? That's not going to cover. You're going to have to pay out of pocket until you can get insurance in that country, or unless you have traveler's insurance. And I'm not sure if all those 20-something-year-olds that was just going over there to just have fun got some traveler's insurance for a little 3-day vacation. That's usually something that's implemented for cruises or, things like that. Some people who are a little bit more mature travelers will be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get me some traveler's insurance. I highly doubt of those young kids thinking enough to get traveler's insurance. I'm not saying they couldn't have and they didn't, but I'm thinking when they say she has insurance, they're talking about her regular insurance here in the States. Your regular insurance does not work international, does not work global. I just want to educate all those people out there that don't know. You cannot take your insurance to other countries and think they're going to go ahead and build that insurance company. It doesn't work for their system. They don't have the same type of healthcare system. And what did I do, guys? Hold up. Yep, I did. And bypass his video.
Something it didn't sound right.
We try to go back to
that was Friday, so Saturday. She took a shower, laid back down, and they called the Airbnb house. Why colleague, didn't give you the phone or let you hear the doctor. Then right. One of them in the house, which she was told, one of them told her she need to wire $5,000 over there so they can take her to the hospital or so she be able to get in the hospital. I say, $5,000 for what? I mean, she's got insurance. She always had insurance. Right. So from that point, that's it. So then all of a sudden, Monday came. Okay, now we getting together trying to figure out where she at. So she on the embassy, calling the embassy, they giving her the run around. I don't know too much about Mexico, none of that. So me and my brother was over my mom's house. So as I'm standing here talking to y'all right now, I'm just hurting all inside.
Okay, I'm gonna stop that from there because I'm gonna go to the next video. He talks about how they want, they get Shanquella's body back to the States.
Growing mysteries surrounding the death of an American tourist vacationing with friends in Mexico. Shanquella Robinson's family says they were told she died of alcohol poisoning, but an autopsy revealed a severe spinal cord injury. Victor Oquendo has the latest. Good morning to you, Victor.
Good morning, Juju. That autopsy report leaving this family desperate for answers. Mexican authorities are investigating, but as of right now, No one has been named a suspect.
And for this to happen to her is just terrible. I just couldn't believe it. It's like I'm still asleep, like a nightmare.
Shanquella Robinson's family is demanding answers this morning after the 25-year-old was found dead at a luxury resort in Mexico.
My heart just like it went into pieces. Shanquella was my heart.
Robinson, from Charlotte, North Carolina, was traveling with 6 friends late last month. The trip quickly turning into a murder mystery now at the center of an international investigation. Authorities finding her body less than 24 hours after she arrived inside the living room of a rental villa in the vacation hotspot of San Jose del Cabo. Robinson's friends first telling her parents she died from alcohol poisoning, but the autopsy report obtained by ABC News lists her cause of death as severe spinal cord injury and dislocated neck.
They called us from the funeral home that done the autopsy that had her body and said that it.
Okay, so I don't know what happened to the audio, but basically she's saying that it was due to her having a spinal injury, and it was not from alcohol poisoning. So we have this is the sister.
Yeah. And that's what did it, and we just waiting. It's got to be another part to the video because that didn't cause her death.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was like.
It's got to be something else lingering around.
Yeah.
And it's to the point like, dog, did they throw her down some stairs? Did they throw her out the balcony? How in the world can her neck be severed from her spine?
Yeah. Right.
Even if she would have, and what people say, even if my sister was to have survived that, she'd been paralyzed from the neck down.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck was they doing? And then she looked sluggish in the video to me.
Yes. Like
she didn't look like when you fight and your adrenaline is pumping. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She moved slow. She put her hands up on her head to pull her hair out. It wasn't no speed to it.
No.
So damn, was it a hangover? Was she drugged? It's a lot of stuff.
So that's just one of the pieces of the video where Tequila is asking or saying that she feels like there's more that happened to Shanquella than just the fight. That in her opinion, she don't think that what Dejanay did to her during that attack, I should say not a fight, during an attack, that it was enough to cause her death. So that's a big what the heck, what the hey. If we are all fighting for justice and we feel it's something that the Cabo 6 did that caused her death, it does not do any justice for the sister to go on to a blogger's platform saying that she don't think that's what caused her death, and she's asking if they threw her off of a balcony. So that is another big inconsistency, a big red flag. That's like, okay, well, we kind of all need to be on one accord. If we're fighting for justice, we need to know what we're fighting for. So if we're all scratching our heads and still questioning what really happened, and we don't believe what's happening in front of our face, such as the video, and you don't think what she did was, enough to cause injury, then what is the purpose, right? So I just found that was like, I was questioning why she would say that. Let's see.
Got our first dead buddy. This morning, a new video surfacing showing Shanquella resting in a hammock at some point before the trip turned deadly.
Buddy. I heard some stuff, a dead body. And, that just made me wonder, that was they playing all the time.
This on the heels of the now viral video, Too Violent to Show, of a female roommate appearing to assault Shanquella.
They just stood there and watched and didn't even try to stop it or break it up. She wasn't even fighting back. They attacked her.
Over the weekend, the community gathering to lay the once vibrant businesswoman to rest. Justice can't come soon enough for the Robinson family.
They let me know that my daughter's being murdered wasn't going to go in vain, that somebody's going to be prosecuted.
And even with all this new information, no formal suspects have been declared in this case by either the police, the Attorney General's office here in Mexico. So a formal conclusion surrounding this death still seems very far away at this point. Yeah, guys.
Okay.
We got out.
And why? The further mystery of this case is that the people that she was with when she died, they let leave Mexico.
I thank God for the 25 years that she were here with me, you know. But I hate to see my child leave here like that, you know. That was a terrible way for her to die.
What were her hopes and dreams? What were her plans for herself?
Well, she always said she wanted to have a successful business. You know, that's all she pretty much talked about. And she could do anything. Anything that she said a man to do.
That drive fulfilling her other passion, travel. Miami, Vegas, Jamaica. And in October, she was heading to San Jose del Cabo, Mexico, a seaside escape with 6 others.
She was very excited about it. She called me and I said, well, okay, enjoy yourself. And I'll call you by the time I think you've gotten there. That Friday evening, she seemed very excited about the trip, you know. And she said she was getting ready to eat some tacos. They had a chef there. And I said, okay, love you. I will talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy yourself. And I never spoke with my child again.
Not even 24 hours after her daughter landed in paradise, Salamandra says she got a worrying call from one of the friends who told her Shanquella wasn't feeling well.
And I said, well, what's wrong with her? And he said, alcohol poisoning. I didn't know what alcohol poisoning was, you know. But he said, the doctor is on the way. And I said, well, how you know alcohol poisoning if the doctor haven't arrived yet?
According to the police report, the doctor recommended that Shanquella be taken to the hospital, but the friends allegedly refused.
And I said, well, why you can't take her to the hospital? You know, take her to the hospital. And he said, well, they say you have to have cash money. I said, well, she has insurance. And he said, well, she need about $5,000 to be seen in the emergency room.
Soon after, another series of calls. Salamandra was told an ambulance had arrived, but it was too late.
They said that she was responsible and the ambulance was trying to resuscitate her. He said he was sorry that Shanquella had passed.
He said it just like that?
Just like that. He wasn't even emotionally upset or nothing about it. And I said, well, you know, it was nothing I could do. It's just my heart just crumbled, you know, because I couldn't even get to my child. She's 2,000 miles away.
So that's another something new that was added, that he said that, so like he didn't care. On the other interviews, I didn't hear her mention that, which is nothing big, but it's just something extra to note that, oh, he said she passed, and just said it like that. Wow, like that's something that, you know, you might want to mention in the rest of your interviews. And then I have a different mindset, so I don't want to say it's wrong for her to say there's nothing I can do, but I believe there's always something that each one of us can do. Even if you're 2,000 miles away, a phone call, more questions, calling 911 yourself, there's always something you can do. And just because, and I'm saying this because I want us to also let this be a teachable moment for all of us. If we ever, hopefully no one ever find themselves in that situation, but if you're ever in a situation of a medical emergency, please don't think there's nothing that you can do because you're so far away. People have saved people's lives by calling other people, or calling for help while other people at their time of need. So don't ever think that there's nothing I can do because I'm 2,000 miles away, because your pressure on their necks, wanting to listen to the call, asking more questions. Hey, even if you tell them, hey, I'm on my way down there, something, you can tell them something that will change things in the way they do things. So, sometimes you just gotta think about not what I can't do and what I'm not able to do, and think about what can I do. All right.
Local Mexican authorities later releasing the police report stating the cause of death as cardiac arrest. Salamandra says days later, the friends returned to the States after their vacation. But as the family grieved, Salamandra says she received a disturbing call.
I got a call from somebody, I didn't even know who it was, and they said that they was over there fighting that girl. And that's the way they left it, just like that.
So someone just called you, said that, and then hung up?
And hung up. Say they was over there fighting. I don't know why they keep talking about alcohol poison.
So remember, guys, this is that Sunday. Someone called her and said, I don't know why they keep saying that. They was over there fighting that girl. Click. And hung up. That's pretty, that's something. That's pretty odd. That's pretty odd.
Salamandra telling us she confronted the friends about that call when they visited her at home in Charlotte, North Carolina.
They was crying and say they never had a fight. They even sit here and say they was picking out what they was wearing to the funeral. They sit down here and we was talking about what colors we was going to wear and what we was going to do. And they sit here and say...
Okay. Okay. This is controversial. I'll just, before I give my opinion, they were sitting there picking out what they were going to wear to the funeral. And then she said, we were picking out our colors to the funeral. Is that something that you guys would do if these people, if someone called you and told you that they were fighting? I mean, they said they wasn't, but who you gonna believe? I don't know. I'm a little bit more guarded than Miss Robinson on things, especially when it comes to my child. So, and my kids are in their 20s as well, and I'm a whole different type of mom on that end. So I will refrain from that comment. And you guys just leave a comment you can leave a comment as to what you would do if that was you. If you would discuss colors and what you're wearing and stuff a couple days after your daughter has passed away.
Pick out what they was wearing to the funeral.
As Shanquella's family was making plans for her funeral, they received bombshell news contradicting everything they'd been told by the...
Okay.
And why?
The further mystery of this case is that the people that she was with when she died, they let leave Mexico.
I thank God for the 25 years that she...
To CBS.
I received a call on Saturday saying that my daughter was sick and that she had alcohol poison. But a doctor had never arrived, so I don't know where they got the alcohol poison from. So at that time, they said a doctor was on the way to examine her, and she wasn't responding as they told me. Said she was resting a little bit, that she wasn't all the way responding as normal. I told them to keep me informed, and I went to nobody couldn't take her to the emergency room. They said because they needed $5,000 cash to be seen in the emergency room, and I said, well, she has insurance. And they said they didn't take insurance by being out the country.
I mean, this girl actually worked in the insurance field. Everything that I just heard is a lie. Everything that this mother was told about the death of her baby girl is a lie. Assume nothing. When you go into an investigation, you believe nobody and no thing that you hear. How in the HELL is this girl resting as opposed to being taken down to the emergency room to HELL with the price? She is dead. She is dead and was never taken to the ER. And I don't buy for 1 minute that this girl, this beautiful young 25-year-old girl, was resting. That's total BS. Now, listen to this.
I told them just keep me informed, and they did call back, but they still saying it was alcohol poisoning. So by later on that evening, they called and said that Shanquella had passed. And at that point, it just took my heart crumbled up, just knowing my child was gone, and I couldn't get there to her, could not do anything. And they said the medics came, 3 medics came, and no one couldn't do anything, couldn't save her.
I'm so mad right now I could chew a nail in half. Joining me, an all-star panel to make sense of the facts as we know them right now, keeping in mind that everything we're learning right now is a lie. I want to go to her mother. I want to go to Shanquella's mother. With me, Mrs. Salamandra Robinson. Miss Robinson, I cannot tell you how sorry I am for what you and your family are going through. When I leave the children at school in the morning and I see that phone ring, I'm already in the car on the way because I know something's wrong. And I cannot imagine how you felt when you get a call that something is wrong with your girl and she's resting and she can't come to the phone to talk to you. Oh, hell no. What happened? Just take it from the top, if you don't mind, Miss Robinson.
Well, like I said, they was saying that she was resting and she wasn't really responding. That's why they called the ambulance. And when the ambulance got there, they said the ambulance was working on her. And as I got from reports saying that the ambulance was working on her for 2 to 3 hours, but no one ever decided to take her to the hospital.
Now, here's another thing. How can you be resting and unresponsive? Like when did they try to get her to talk to you on the phone?
Another person asks, did you try, or did they try to get you to talk to her on the phone? Mr. Robinson asked the same thing. I was saying it to myself here at home. Why didn't you try to speak to her? Or because in my opinion, sometimes as an older, wiser adult, I won't say wiser because that's unfair to say, but sometimes as the mature adult, sometimes as the older adult, there's times that we have to change our communication style, where you're not going to interrogate, well, why this and why that, and you're going to start having more of a direct conversation and giving directives and telling them, okay, hey, this is what I need you to do. Hey, put her on the phone. You're going to start giving more commands, because at this point we're talking about an emergency. And when there's an emergency for us in the hospital, we don't say, well, why this? Or can you, hey, hand me this, give me that, run me the blood. You can't do that when time is of essence and people's lives is on the line. So you may have to have that more direct approach when you're dealing with a younger generation and you're a parent and older and there's an emergency. I'm not going to put the power in their hands to make a decision that they may not be equipped to make. I'm going to help and guide. I'm going to say, hey, put me on a phone, do this, send her to the hospital. We'll worry about the bill later. I don't care. There's just certain things that, you can ask to do, or you can direct them to do. Now, if they would have refused it, then whoa, that's a big red flag. But Nancy Grace definitely asked some great questions that many of us ask.
Start at the beginning. When you get the call, where are you?
When I got the call, I was out eating.
Okay, so you were in North Carolina?
Yes.
So North Carolina time, it was what, 7 o'clock at night?
It would have been about 6 or 7.
Okay, so she is in San Jose del Cabo, Mexico, so that I think would have been 3 hours behind. Like they're on California time, correct?
Yeah.
They're actually on Mountain Standard Time, so they're actually 2 hours behind, and 2 hours behind us. So that would be 4 or 5 o'clock Cabo time.
So 4 p.m. their time, 7 p.m. ish your time. You get a call. And who called you?
Celia Cook.
Who's that?
That's supposed to be her best friend.
Did you say Celia Cook?
No, Kalia Cook.
Oh, the man.
Yes.
And he was a friend of hers. He had gone on family vacations. You knew him, right?
Yes.
Okay, were they romantically involved?
No.
I want to stop that. Remember on the interview with Mr. Bernard, he said, do you know them? Do you know of them? She said, I know of them. All I know is that she went to school with them. But as you see on here, she says she do know one of them. She knows Khalil. So why did you not tell the dad that you knew one of them? That one of them was her best friend? That's just kind of odd. Just some inconsistencies I want to mention.
Okay, just a friend. Look, it happens. A lot of people can't believe that happened. Can happen. I've had a best friend since law school, a best friend man, study partners the whole way through. So it does happen. So Khalil.
Next question, guys. If you were having a little sneaky link, a little friends with benefits type of thing, would you tell your mom and dad? Would they know? Let's be clear. Probably not. So even if they were messing around, I know people are saying that he may be, you know, a gay man, but we don't know that for sure, and we don't know if he's bi or gay or whatnot. There was some comfort there with him that I got male friends I definitely would not allow to do certain things, but you know, we're two different generations and two different people. But anywho, let's see what else Nancy has to say.
Look, is her friend, and he calls you, correct?
Yes.
And he says what to you?
That Shanquella wasn't feeling good. He thinks she had drunk too much. She had alcohol poison. And I said, what is alcohol poison? Because I didn't even know what alcohol poison was.
Okay.
That part, what is alcohol poison? I didn't even know what alcohol poison was. So that was her. She said that quite a bit in the beginning of her interviews. What was strange to me is when you don't know what something is, you don't question what wasn't done. So that doesn't go together. If I don't even know what something is, I wouldn't even know that a doctor need to diagnose it, because I wouldn't have no idea. But then her story started to say, I was wondering how they could say it's alcohol poisoning and no doctor even, and a doctor haven't arrived yet. And I'm looking for the other interview. There's another interview where it's explained that he calls and tells her that Shanquella's not feeling good and she's, you know, not doing good. And then he calls her back on another call, put her on hold, and then come back and said the doctor said that it's alcohol poison. That was mentioned as well. There's also another video with the sister, but I am going, let me see if I have anything else. This is the dad, and I've played that on a recent one. That's him with on Griot with Lamont, with Lamont Mark Hill. And I played this one on another video, so I won't go into this one too much tonight. This is going to be my part 1. I'm going to follow up with a part 2. And I'm going to discuss my analysis of these videos. In the meanwhile, if you notice any inconsistencies, anything that's not a red flag for you or you wouldn't question, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I would like to thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you on part 2 with the analysis. And there's 2 other videos that I will include in here. So I hope you listen to this one first, and then we will see you on another live. And you guys have a good night and a happy weekend and a happy New Year's. All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.